I am a very big fan of the Tammy film series. My love started with the 1957 film Tammy and the Bachelor, which was actually the first Debbie Reynolds film that I saw, and I am completely in love with Debbie Reynolds, so it definitely had a strong impact on me. The latest one, which is, I believe, the last in the little series, is Tammy and the Millionaire, which aired 10 years after the first one in 1967. This one isn't Debbie Reynolds. Sandra Dee also played Tammy in previous films. This one is definitely the most different to them all. I still enjoyed it, and Tammy, for the most part, still feels like Tammy, but there are some differences. So this was directed by Leslie Goodwin, Sidney Miller, and Ezra Stone, and stars Debbie Watson as Tammy Tarleton. Yes, she's not called Tammy Tyree anymore, and I'm not sure why. I absolutely love the name Tambry Tyree. And I think by taking it away, because obviously the name Tambry Tyree, it has a very musical quality to it, but it's also quite a unique name. By changing that, I wasn't very pleased with that. But it's not all bad, because it actually starts off with a version of the popular song Tammy. Debbie Reynolds did very well with that song in the charts. I can't remember what number it got to, but it did very well. This version, I'm assuming, is sung by Debbie Watson. I could be wrong. But it plays over the opening titles, and then it gets kind of used throughout in various versions. And that made me very happy, because I think it's important to have it in the Tammy films. It was also in one of the other two films with Sandra Dee. So that's all fine. The narrative still feels pretty true to a Tammy film. In this one, Tammy, if you don't know, is she's gone through quite a journey. In the first film, she was very uneducated in a academic sense, but quite world-wise, insofar as she's spent a long time grafting, working on her grandfather's patches of land. They live on a houseboat. She knows a lot, and she's very passionate and eager to learn, but she's not book smart, if you like. But over the films, she's kind of had opportunities to learn, and in this one, she has previously gone to secretarial school. So she's actually got some skills now that she can utilise in the workplace, which is important for the development of this narrative. And she's still with her grandfather, but she decides to apply for this job to be a secretary in this very nice property, basically next door. It's very nearby. And of course, she gets the job, and it's all about her being very different to everybody else there, but being very good at her job. And there's this fantastic I'm going to end up butchering this, because there's this brilliant phrase in it. But her accent, Tammy's way of speaking is very unique. It's very different, and she's also got quite a strong accent. But she's typing these words really quickly, and she spells this really complicated word. And her new boss is so shocked that she could spell this word. And he says to her, how can you do that? I don't even think you could pronounce that word. And Tammy says something along the lines of, she reads the words, they go into her brain, they come back out, and she writes the words without ever having to speak them. And I thought that was fantastic, and it's just kind of almost like sounds can be deceiving in a way. Just because she doesn't sound like she could spell the word doesn't mean she can't. And I definitely think Tammy's had some brilliant character development in this. But it's also worth mentioning that she could also you could also watch this film on its own. You do not need to have seen the previous films. But just from a personal interest perspective, I would definitely suggest watching the films in order. I just think it's the most enjoyable way, and you get to see how Tammy changes and the adventures that she goes through, because there is some kind of retention to the previous films. Certainly with Tammy and the Doctor, there's reference to the previous film. So it just works better, but you don't have to. And in this one, there's also something, kind of the other narrative in this is that her grandfather finds out that he might own part of the house that Tammy is now working in. This very, luxurious, rich property. And that's going to cause some problems. So we have a whole film where basically class divide is exceptionally apparent. And yet Tammy seems to be the kindest person, the most intellectual insofar as she can see the bigger picture, she can see kindness. Not everybody else around her can. And I really enjoyed it. If I were to rank it, I don't think I could. Certainly it's not my favourite. And I really liked Tammy and the Doctor quite a lot. I'm not sure. But I enjoyed it. It's either my least favourite or my second least favourite. But either way, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought Debbie Watson was very good as Tammy. She looks the part. One thing they've kept true with Debbie Reynolds, Sandra Dee, and Debbie Watson is that Tammy does look pretty similar. They've kind of kept a similar style. Her hair is quite similar. The accent here isn't quite as strong, but that's not really a problem. Tammy and the Millionaire is still an absolute delight and thoroughly worth watching.